For most of my life, I have struggled with clutter, I've struggled with my weight.
I'm gonna work out for a half an hour. Never happens.
Finances,
Spend way too much money.
relationships, everything.
I am so lazy.
And I've heard from so many of you who also really struggle.
My mind is cluttered, house is cluttered.
Anxious.
And it is a mess.
My life is cluttered.
Stressed.
I feel dread.
I don't want to spend any time here whatsoever.
I need to get organized.
I knew what I was supposed to be doing. I just didn't know how to make myself actually do it. Until I read the book, The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin. I've been talking about this book for almost 10 years.
The 4 Tendencies by Gretchen Rubin.
Gretchen Rubin, I really recommend using Gretchen Rubin's technique. This transformed everything. So after a decade of reading her book, I had the privilege of flying to New York to meet Gretchen in person. I sat in her living room and we talked about her life-changing framework. As soon as I found out my tendency, I quadrupled my income. I hired someone to come to my home, even though I couldn't afford it at the time. I trusted that that's what was going to get me to show up after reading your book.
Because that person held you accountable in a new way, so you were just so much more effective.
That was exactly it. You can hack the system. You can have exactly the same life-changing transformation that I had when you know what your tendency is. And we have the expert herself here to go through all 4 of them. So listen and see if one of these really resonates with you.
Depending on whether you meet or resist outer and inner expectations, that's what makes you an upholder, a questioner, an obliger, or a rebel.
This is the part I don't want you to miss. Outer expectations are people who are counting on you, or someone else has asked you or wants you to do something for them. Inner expectations are things you want to do for yourself. That is the difference. And it's so important that you know what works for you.
Upholders are people who readily meet outer and inner expectations. They want to do what other people expect from them, but their expectation for themselves are just as important. Their motto is, "Discipline is my freedom."
The first time I read The 4 Tendencies, I was like, I wish I was an upholder.
Then there are questioners, and questioners readily meet inner expectations, but they only meet an outer expectation if they think it makes sense. They're always asking why. Their motto is, "I'll comply if you convince me why."
My oldest daughter, Izzy, is a questioner. She's great at meeting her own expectations or things she wants to do. But if I was to say, I need you to clean your room, it's not really gonna work. Unless I say, I need you to clean your room because we have company coming, or because it's stressing me out to see it this way, and I know it's gonna make you feel better too. If I explain the why, Izzy's always ready to do it.
Then third is obliger. Obligers readily meet outer expectations, but they struggle to meet inner expectations. These are the people who say, why is it I can keep my promises to other people, but I can't keep my promises to myself? Their motto is, you can count on me, and I'm counting on you to count on me.
As an obliger, if I say I'm going to the gym every morning at 9, I won't do it. But if I tell my friend Anna I'm gonna meet her at the gym at 9, you know I'm showing up. It's all about external accountability.
And then finally, rebel. Rebels resist both outer and inner expectations. They want to do what they want to do in their own way, in their own time. Their motto is, you can't make me, and neither can I.
Being a rebel is tough. Joe is definitely a rebel. And for them, it's not about like making a to-do list or being told what to do. They will resist both. They need to do it for like problem solving or be the hero or do it because it's part of their identity. It has to be more than just something that has to get done.
So I know your tendencies, so reveal.
I'm an obliger.
So you're in the biggest tendency. So that's actually really good because you are constantly teaching people, working with people.
Now that I realize this, zooming out, even the reason I can keep my own home organized is because I started doing a little blog and a YouTube channel about it. I felt like I had to show up for someone else.
That is an obliger strategy that I've seen many times. Like, I have to model good behavior. I have to be a role model. I'm going to start a blog or have a class or do something where people are counting on me. The idea that they're counting on me, they're watching me, it's going to help me meet my expectations for myself.
So whether it's making myself exercise or clean the house or writing my book, I now know that I need outer accountability.
When somebody says something like, I need deadlines, what they're saying is, I need accountability. And so if somebody needs accountability, we should help them get accountability, not say to them, oh, I don't need to be your babysitter, do your own work in your own way, come back to me when you're finished, which is the kind of thing an upholder or a questioner or rebel might say.
How many times have we labeled ourselves or other people as lazy or unmotivated? Like, why can't you just do the thing that's easy for everyone else? And that's the real magic in the 4 tendencies and the Clutterbug styles. It's acknowledging that it is not one size fits all, that we all work and think differently, and we need different strategies that complement our brain. I've also been able to really see in my husband, who's a rebel, he struggles to motivate himself, but certainly if I put an expectation on him, he will resist at all costs. And I thought, what a jerk. But it's not about being a jerk.
No, and this is one of the things I like about the 4 tendencies is it makes it so much less personal. It's really like, that's just how they are. Like, it might be annoying, but you don't take it personally. You're not like, well, does this show that you don't love me, or you don't listen to me, or you don't care how I think? You're like, no, it's because you're a rebel. You're like this all over the place. And it's interesting that he's a rebel because rebels usually marry obligers. Or when they team up, like at work, they usually, if one is a rebel, one is an obliger. So that's a very stable pattern.
You might be thinking the same thing I am, like, wish we could all be upholders. But when I asked Gretchen about this, she said, actually, upholders struggle too, because they're so rigid that they also aren't perfect. This isn't like being the best. It's about hacking the system so all of us can get stuff done. I can behave like an upholder if I hack the system, if I hack my obliger. I'm all about the hacks and shortcuts.
Yeah, you've got to hack the system. But you've got to hack the system as a rebel. You got to hack the system as a questioner. You got to hack the system as an upholder. Everybody has to figure out how to do it from their own vantage point, because otherwise it doesn't work. And sometimes people act like that's like training wheels. There's all this like, oh, you should have intrinsic motivation. I'm like, no. Get what you need. If you need outer accountability, that's fine. You're the biggest group. Tons of people need outer accountability. So it's not something that you need to like transcend. You can have anything you want. You just figure out the outer accountability for it.
Gretchen changed my life. And it's not every day that you get to meet your hero in real life. It was surreal and also kind of scary, but ultimately a dream come true. And then I did something kind of crazy. I asked if I could diagnose her Clutterbug style and snoop around her house. How do you feel? Usually when I go in people's homes, I'm like, can I snoop and diagnose your style?
Of course, Cass! Snoop away!
This is very exciting.
I want to explain this closet. Okay, look.
I'm just looking.
Okay. So it's a mishmash closet,
Okay.
right? It's like a little bit of a lot of things, which I don't like generally because I feel like that's not good practice.
No, but
Easter decorations, my husband's fishing stuff, our heavy weather gear that takes up a lot of space.
Look, this is a basket, just
anything winter stuff.
So you know where things
it's
are.
Fishing
you
stuff,
can find
it's
it
winter
fast,
stuff.
but nothing's precious.
No, and it's not like hats in one basket, mittens in another basket.
I want to snoop again.
There's no color coordination.
No. But it is more or less organized. So I could find, if I'm looking for a book by an author, I could find it more or less. It's a very active bookshelf.
It feels loved.
Yeah, yeah. No, for me, something like a color-coded bookshelf is anathema.
This makes me so happy.
Right? But it's perfectly organized. This is all our luggage.
Yes, this is zoned, but it isn't meticulous. You are a ladybug.
Right?
You are a ladybug, and I love it because this is organized. And this is the thing that people don't understand. They would look at this and think, oh no, I would have to have shelving and I would have to.
Right.
But no.
You don't.
But why?
Just dump it in.
I'm an organizing expert. This is amazing because if you need a suitcase or a bag, you know exactly where it is. And that's what organization actually is.
Right.
If you're a butterfly, and imagine this was your clothing.
Right.
Butterflies actually, like your green sweater is amazing. They will literally forget they own this green sweater if they can't see it, even if it's their favorite.
Okay.
So they need to open up and see everything. So they're not going to forget that they have underwear because they have to put underwear on.
But you know why this is so interesting? My daughter always keeps her closet doors open, and I'm like, close your closet doors. And she'll like hang things on them so you can't even close them because there's stuff. But now I understand why, because she's like, if I close the doors, I won't know what I have.
Absolutely. The first thing I do when I go to a butterfly home is I take the closet doors off. My favorite part of meeting Gretchen Rubin was, well, she's a hero, but we got to work together. We got to stack our frameworks, our systems, and help Chloe and her family. We did a makeover of her apartment together, and it was incredible. If you haven't seen this amazing video, I'm gonna put a link to it in the description, and you can see exactly how it works to stack the Clutterbug systems and the 4 tendencies together.
If you are having trouble meeting expectations, I really urge you to take the 4 tendencies quiz, because once you know whether you meet or resist outer and inner expectations, that's going to unlock so much for you in terms of how to achieve your aims for yourself and how to communicate more effectively with other people.
Here's what I now know. I'm not lazy. I'm not broken. I'm just wired differently. And so are you. And when we know what works for our brain, we can kind of hack the system. We can manipulate ourselves and live the incredible life that we're craving. Whether it is organizing your home, or getting your health under control, or your finances, or just waking up every day and thinking, my life is amazing. That is what can happen when you truly know yourself and you stop beating yourself up and instead you find a system that works for your brain. Do me a favor in the comments and let me know your Clutterbug style and also your tendency. I can't wait to see how these pair up, and Gretchen and I created a matrix for you where when you know your Clutterbug style and your tendency, you can match it together for a plan of exactly how to set up a home that will stay tidy and organized all the time. It is totally free. I'm gonna put a link to that matrix that you can download in the description below, a link to Chloe's makeover video. You do not want to miss it, and a link to Gretchen Rubin's 4 tendency quiz. It's amazing. Find out yours. Thank you so much. I hope you're feeling really inspired, and I'll see you guys next time. Thank you guys so much for those of you who have stayed to the end. Maybe you're watching this video and you're thinking, Cass, why do you look so tired? Listen, I love Fortnite. I've not really played a lot of other video games, so when Fortnite did a new update last night, Joe and I were playing. It's called Star Wars Droid Tycoon. I had no idea what to expect. At 9:30, Joe turned it on and started playing. I was reading. I'm going to bed early. I got a big day tomorrow. I'm filming this Gretchen Rubin video. And I got a podcast. At 10:30, he's still playing. And I'm like, is this a good game? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, are you having fun? What do you do? He's like, I'm not sure. I decide to give it a try. At 11, my brother joins, and he's kind of walking me through it too. At midnight, I'm still playing and realizing this is just a job. This game, you're just building machines that make you money, and then you cash in the money to buy more machines. I'm basically working shift work at a factory here. At 1 o'clock in the morning, my brother's like, I should probably go to bed. And I'm thinking, I should too. But wait, before you go, how do you win this game? And he says, have you never played like Roller Coaster Tycoon? There's no winning. You just work until forever. This is just your job now. And I'm like, this is dumb. There's no winning. Why are we doing this, guys? At 2 o'clock in the morning, I say to Joe, we should probably stop playing and maybe go to bed. At 3 o'clock in the morning, I say, Joe, why are we still playing this? And he's like, I don't know. This is ridiculous. Are you having fun? And I'm like, not really, but yet I can't stop. At 4 o'clock in the morning, Joe, I hear him. He says he's going to bed. He's in the bathroom still playing. He's now downloaded it on his iPad so he can play secretly. And I'm also under the covers playing, pretending to sleep. What? Tell me if you also have ever played a video game that is literally a job, where the role of the game is to have a 9 to 5. You're just working, whether it's growing a garden or, I don't know, selling something or building something. This is it. I'm just running a business for free. I'm not getting paid, and yet I cannot stop. Make it make sense. Let me know in the comments below if why are these games so addicting when they're not even like fun and there's no end. That's all I can think about right now. I want to go play. Okay, let's catch you guys next time. Bye.